with spirit. And where we start in the science of mind is, of course, with ourselves. See, there's only one absolute power. Just one power. And this power is unlimited. And it's within you, as we talked about in the beginning. And it's within me. And we often think, though, because we're human, that even though there's one power, and this power is unlimited, and it's within you, and it's within me, that somehow we always get this notion that our case is just so darn special and so unique that God's hands are tied, that God can't do anything about it, that really God can't do anything in my situation because it's so unique, you know. God can do everything, and it's all powerful, and it's all present, and this and that, but not in this situation, because the people I'm dealing with are really, really tough. The situation that I'm dealing with at work is really difficult. God just wouldn't understand my finances. They're way too complicated. This life is just so complicated right now that God just wouldn't get it. We go there. But this is a world of spiritual law. We teach spiritual law in operation. It's the law of cause and effect, the basic law of consciousness, which Dr. Holmes also referred to as karma. As you put it out there, that's how you're going to get it back. And one of the ways that we see this in our own lives is that what I think I am, I become. What I think I am, I become. So if I think I'm whole, I'm going to become more whole. If I think I'm abundant, I'm going to become more abundant. If I think I'm lovable, I'm going to become more lovable. And it works the other way. It works the other way as well. That if I think I'm not enough, the universe says, okay, you are not really enough. Never were, never will be. If you think you're poor, the universe says, in an abundant universe, odd choice, darling, but okay, you're poor. And if I think I'm sick, my life is over, the universe says, okay, another interesting choice. I wouldn't go there, but okay, your life is over. Boom. Move on. You know? So we have to decide. We're the ones. We have to decide in order to give direction to the principle, in order to give direction to the law. This is our job. This is our job as co-creators of our life. Otherwise, we'd be puppets. God, Spirit, has endowed each of us with free will, with choice and intelligence to comprehend that we are working with spiritual law. And therefore, we get to be involved in the process. We have to decide what we want in order to give direction to the principle and the law. I got a renewal notice about my license before my birthday. And I went immediately, oh God, DMV, you know. So I put it on the back burner, I got to tell you. You know, a couple months go by after my birthday and I keep saying, I got to get to this, I got to get to this. And then pretty soon, don't you know, that my outside world is reflecting back my inner knowingness that I have to do something about this. And so every time I'd see a police car, I knew they were after me. And every time I'd go someplace just to use my ATM, all of a sudden they're saying, show me your ID. And this is expired, dear. You know that, don't you? So finally I said, okay, get a grip, you're going. And so I started talking to people, and I said, oh, I'm going to the DMV next week. And they'd go, oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. That is terrible. I wish you didn't have to go. You know, that is an awful place. And it's the worst place in the world. Which one are you going to? Culver City. Well, oh, that's so crowded. It's so hot. It's just that's a terrible place. They're rude. Da, 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 da. And I thought, well, I got to go. I'm going anyway. So I'm driving over. And all of a sudden it dawns on me that, hey, this line of thinking, that my current line of thinking about the DMV is not going to serve me well at all. You know, I bring this thinking into the DMV, I can be pretty well assured of what my experience is going to be. So I made a conscious choice to change my thinking, change my experience. I am peace, I am love. The DMV is peace, the DMV is love. God is present in everybody at the DMV. So I walked into the DMV, and it's a sea of people. It is just crowded. And I said, holy cow, you better be praying again. So I walked out. I really did, you know? I walked out and I sat on a wall. I pretended I was tanning, but I was treating like heck, you know? And so then I go back in and I get in line. And that line, I swear, went all snaked through the building and went out the back door. I was outside again. But I'm prepared. I brought a book. So I'm reading my book and I'm affirming and I'm inching forward and reading and affirming and inching, and finally I get up to the counter. And the woman there is so nice. Hi, how are you? Fine, thank you. Thank you for asking. How are you? Well, fine, thank you for asking. And she gave me a number. And she told me to go wait over there. And my number was like Z8,043,000, you know? And of course there, I'm doing A from 1 to 1,000, B 1 to 1,000. But okay, I go and I sit down. And I'm watching the monitor, and I'm watching and reading and affirming. You know, God is in the DMV, God is in me, we're all one. That's all peace. And the next thing I know, they're calling my number, and it was really fast. So I walk up to the counter, and magically, when I got up to the counter of the Z's, the woman who was over in the first line that was so nice to me was there. And she was so sweet, and I thought, hi, how are you again? And she said, well, hello, how are you? And she just started doing what she does. And now I was months late. You know, I hate to admit it, but I was months late, and I had confabbed in my mind that I was going to pay this tremendous penalty. And it was, you know, it was going to cost me a fortune. It cost me the regular $28. There was no fine, there was no nothing. And I said, wow, thank you, this is great, thank you so much. And she said, no problem. Now just go over there to the other guy and have your picture taken, and we'll mail it to you, and you'll have it in about 2 weeks. Great. So I start marching over to the picture taking guy, and he was like way grumpy. Way grumpy. And I start saying, oh man, it's over. And I just stopped. I just stopped myself, and I said, stop, you know? And I said, you know, God is everywhere. We're all one. You know, God is in the picture-taking man, and life is good, and we're at peace, and da-da-da-da. I am peace, God is love. So I go up to the picture man, and I say, hi, how are you? And I say to him, man, you are in one cool place. Do you know how hot it is outside? He said, I am. Am I in a cool place? He said, yeah, it's roasting outside. You are in one fabulous place. He says, really? And I said, yeah. And so he said, go stand over there on the footprints. And I go stand over on the footprints, and he says, smile. When have you ever heard at the DMV, smile, look nice, do your hair? You know? That's why I said, it's okay, you know? And he said, well, that's it. We'll mail it to you in about 2 weeks. I'm sorry it's going to take so long. The DMV saying they're sorry. Oh my God, I had a tremendous experience at the DMV. Maybe the first person in history, but I did. I had a fabulous experience. And what I attribute this to is clarity, because clarity is power. I was really clear that the old way of thinking was not going to serve me in this situation. See, you've got to be honest with yourself. And my thinking stunk up until I started to treat my consciousness in the car and then again out on the little walkway. And it's important to be focused. Like what I want is, you know, I want to have a good experience here. I want things to go smoothly and harmoniously and peacefully and nice. And if I had my way, I'd like to not have to pay a fortune. So I think we need to look at our life. And we need to say to ourselves, okay, honestly, this is where I am today. And this is where I want to be. This is what's going on right now. This is what I would like. Yes, this is the condition in my outer plane experience. But I know in the mind of God, there is greater possibility in store for me, available to me if I will do the work to lift up my consciousness. So something that I just love about the science of mind is what I call our toolbox. We have lots of different things at our disposal to change our consciousness. We do, we really do. It's not like we have just one thing and we say, oh, we've tried that, now we're really in trouble, forget it. No, we have lots of things at our disposal. We do spiritual mind treatment, we meditate, we do affirmations, we visualize, we set goals, we work with gratitude, we do forgiveness, we study and we serve and we tithe, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. There's just so much that we can do to lift up our consciousness, to heal our consciousness. And yet people tell me all the time, you know, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I have so much anxiety, I can't do anything. So I have to say, what do you want? Well, I don't know. I have so much stress and anxiety, I don't know what I want. I don't know. But if we're not making progress and not using our toolbox, if we're not doing the work in consciousness, then somehow we're a house divided. To say I have such anxiety, I can't decide what I want to do, we're a house divided against ourselves. We're not working in our own best interest. We're saying one thing and believing in another. We're saying one thing and doing another. In Science of Mind, we believe that you have, each of us, we all have right now within us the capacity to achieve extraordinary things in our life. Whether that's the healing of relationships, the healing of your body, the healing of your finances. But right now, you have the capacity and to do extraordinary things and make extraordinary things happen in your life. And you want to say, like I want to say sometimes, how is that possible? Because God is within you, Spirit is within you, universal intelligence is within you, and God is infinite in its potential and in its possibility. What we say yes to, the universe says yes to in our life. So what I've seen is that little changes consistently over time make a difference. Little changes consistently over time can change everything. So let's just say that you start to meditate. And let's say that you're meditating, say, 2 minutes a day. At the end of the week, you've meditated 14 minutes. At the end of a month, you've meditated 60 minutes. And that's an hour that you've meditated in the month. Pretty good. And you can say, well, I've meditated 60 minutes this month. And that's great. Now, if you build that up to 10 minutes, you'd be 70 minutes at the end of the week. You would be 300 minutes at the end of the month. And if you spend that much time, 300 minutes in consciousness, that's going to start to change you, because that's going to start to change your consciousness. And if your consciousness changes, your results are definitely going to change in the outer world. And that's effective. That's incentive for us. That's why it's so valuable to take time for yourself, for your inner life, and to start to cultivate that inner life. One of the things that we say in the Science of Mind is awareness is curative. Where you have some awareness, that's the beginning of healing happening. So we begin by taking a look at and being aware of what's up with us. What's up with you? And you'll notice, this is up. I notice I get angry around this particular person. Or I notice I feel sad over here. Or I notice I'm frustrated when I do this. Or I'm tired. Or I'm overwhelmed. You have to notice what's up with you. And then, with awareness, you can start to check in with how you feel. And you say, well, what I feel is real. You know, certainly feels real, doesn't it? Here's the thing. It becomes more real the more you feel it. Now, feelings, that can change in an instant. You can change what you feel. Once you are aware of what you're feeling, and if it's not what you want to be feeling, if it's not in support of your highest and greatest good, like here I am, I'm sad again. I am sad again. I'm so sad. I wish I didn't have to be sad all the time. I wish I could feel differently. Well, you can. You really can. In an instant, you can change how you feel. How? By changing the focus, the pattern of what you focus on. You say, I'm sad. I'm lonely. I'm depressed. Well, where can that lead? Come on. Only one place, and that's down. That is down. It can only go down. Nobody ever says, oh, I was so sad, and then all of a sudden I decided to be happy. No one ever says I was so depressed, I finally got joyful. That doesn't happen. So what I would say is, all right, tell me something good about your life. Well, there's nothing good about my life. That is not true. Don't be like that. There's always something good about your life. Tell me something good about your life. Well, I have nice nieces and nephews. I really like them. I love them a lot. That's great. You got great nieces and nephews, and you love them. Tell me something else that's good about your life. Well, I have a bird. I like my bird. Well, tell me something else. That's great. That's fabulous. I don't care what. Tell me something great and something good about your life. See, you can change the way you feel by changing what you focus on. People are always so eager to say how dreadful and tell us about the awfulness of their situation. Like they're in competition together with each other. And it's oh, you got it bad? Let me tell you how bad it was in my life. You think that was terrible? Let me tell you about my terrible experience. Let's be very clear, folks. There is no prize for how awful your life is. There is no prize for an awful life. And that's time's wasted. That's time gone. You don't get that time back. The universe simply says, it's a yes universe, you know. The universe says, okay, yes, your life is awful. You win. Ding, ding, it's over. So why don't you change your focus and change the way you feel? And if you're in the science of mind, you know better than that, don't we? You keep telling your ain't my life awful story. The universe is going to make it so. Think about that. Does that really serve my best interest? Now in science of mind, we are very, very interested in the words that we choose to speak and how we choose to speak to ourselves and how we start to speak to others. And so I'm asking you also then to start treating and start speaking yourself up. Start talking yourself up. Because it's a spiritual principle that your soul loves to hear words of truth. And it especially loves to hear them from you. They love words of truth coming from your lips. So say good things about yourself, to yourself, with great intensity. My life is good because my life is one with God. My life is good because my life is one with God. Say that with intensity. Kind of like what I was doing at the DMV, don't you think? Stop with the why always me? Why is it me? Why am I always alone? Why am I sick? Why am I broke? We are not channeling Zachary Smith from Lost in Space. We aren't. Woe is me. Woe is me doesn't cut it, you know? Remember, everybody wanted to leave him on the planet. The universe can't work with thinking like that in any kind of a healthy way. So start saying things with great intensity. Saying things like, my life is good because my life is one with God, with spirit, with the universe. I don't care, but start saying something like that. And all that why nonsense, why is it always me? Just stop that. Those are the wrong kind of questions to be asking yourselves. Why don't things ever work out? Why am I always alone? Those are wrong questions. And they're wrong because there's always something that we can do. But we got to tell the truth. And we're big people here, so tell the truth. And the truth is you don't want to. You're in church. Tell the truth. We just don't want to. So we spin it. And instead we say things like, well, I can't, I don't know, Come on. You can and you do. You just don't want to. You are not a victim. You're big. Claim it so we can heal it. I don't want to. So what's the truth then in whatever situation that we're dealing with? Well, the truth is that number one, God, Spirit is present, that I am part of God, and that with God all things are possible. Anything is possible. So if I believe, and I do believe, then it can be done. And it is done. See, what we keep focusing on, we are moving toward in our life. So what's it going to be? Everything in our outer world started in our inner world. Everything on the outer plane started on the inner plane. So I don't know why we act surprised. Well, I don't know how that happened. I don't know. What's going on in here? You know? So we have to ask ourselves, as students of this wonderful, wonderful teaching, what do I want to create today? From the time that we get up in the morning, what do I want to create today? And when you find out what you want to create, and the truth is you already know, you really do. It's not like you don't know. And then start with some focus. Some focus on, to be clear on what it is that I want. And then all the things in my life that I have to be grateful for. Because when you're grateful in the universe, it's like you're a satisfied customer at Macy's. And the universe loves a satisfied customer. When you're like a happy, satisfied, content customer in the universe will give you more to be happy, satisfied, and content about. That's why you want to be grateful. And also, be determined. Because we often, and I'm one of them, I'm raising my hand here, we often say, well, I know what I want to create today. I really got it down. I'm going after, what? Oh, what's that? What is that shiny thing over there? And the first shiny thing that we see, we get distracted. We forget all about what it was that we wanted to create. Now, the hardest thing is getting started, creating that momentum. It's like when a spaceship takes off. It's the hardest time. It's when most of the fuel is used, when it's getting it off the ground, starting that push to get started, because it's at a standstill. It's not moving at all. So the hardest thing is to get the momentum and to get going. Now here's the good part. An object that is in motion stays in motion. That's a law of physics. But the other side of that coin is something that stops, stays stopped. Now I don't want to tell you what you should be doing, what you should do, because I hate it when people tell me what I should do. But maybe for today, we could change should to, for my own greatest good, I get to. For my own greatest good, my own greater happiness, I get to. For my own greater health, I get to do this. For my own greater prosperity, I get to do this. Because I'm asking us to create a spiritual discipline to grow and heal our lives. And I know we cringe at the word discipline. We want to be free and spontaneous and no restrictions and no punishment. Well, what if just a teensy-weensy bit of discipline would bring you a lot of freedom? What if you'd get a lot of power in your life with just a little bit of discipline? It's kind of like when you were a kid and you needed to mow the lawn to get the money to go to the amusement park. Didn't want to mow the lawn, but you needed to mow the lawn so you could have the freedom to spend all day long at the amusement park. Well, that's like us having an inner life, where we're going to get clear on what we want, and we're going to talk ourselves up, and we're going to notice how we're feeling and how we don't want to feel, and we're going to focus on other things. And I guarantee you a lot of freedom, a lot of power. I guarantee that's going to be your result. This is a yes universe. The universe loves to say yes to us all the time. The universe wants to say yes. So what is it that keeps us from having what we want? I think it's really simple. We've believed in a story that we have told ourselves about why we can't have it. I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that, I haven't suffered enough. That's always a good one. I don't deserve it. But we have a story about why we can't have it. And having that story is like saying I've created a consciousness of limitation within myself. No victim, I'm the perpetrator. Now you might be saying, like many others, I don't have time, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow. Give it up, dear. Give up that excuse. We all have the same amount of time. Nobody's watch has more hours on it than another one. We're all working with the same amount of time. So life says yes to us according to what we say yes to. So get a grip. Start saying yes to what you want. This week the goal is to open yourself up because life is trying to give to you in greater ways than ever before. But you have to cooperate. So it might be for you. You might have to give up the old story. If it is, do it. Get clear. Get focused. Get grateful. The universe is trying to give to you. There's a power in you that responds to you. Give it a chance, work with it, and create the life you came here to live. And so it is.
So it is.
Yay.
Oh, wow.
So let's turn our attention inward for just a moment as we become still together. Let's turn that attention inward. And we know that God is right where we are, that we are surrounded and filled with God's Spirit, God's light. God's love is within each and every one of us right now. Who we are as we are, each one a valuable part of the mind of God. So as we join together in consciousness, I also know that not only are we one with God, but that we are all connected with each other. And I speak this word for each and every one of us, knowing that the life principle within us is rising up and expressing in greater ways than we have ever known. We are absolutely willing and receptive to this. And anything limiting that we have told ourselves that has kept us out of the kingdom consciousness, we let that go right now. We recognize it does not serve us. It has no place for us here today. I speak the word that we are willing to have that tiny bit of discipline to grow our consciousness, knowing that we change on the inside. The outside can only correspond in healthy, abundant, loving, creative ways.